How's it going, nerds? It's your boy Nesbit with another highly requested video for the Star Wars Vintage Collection wish list. So for this list, I have the top 75 figures that I think we need in the Vintage Collection line. So they're in order of film appearances. There are ones that I know that they will make eventually as part of the original 96. So, without further ado, number one, we need Sebulba. Now, he hasn't been released since 2001, and he desperately needs to be in the Vintage Collection, as he is one of the biggest characters of that film. Now, next we have Watto. Obviously, he's never been released since 1999, and we did get one from Attack of the Clones, but we need the one without the hat. He's just an iconic character that we need on the Vintage. And then next we have Captain Panaka. He also has never been released since 1999, and he is a staple character in that film. Next we have Arc Bumpy Roos. Now, this is a pod racer. He was actually featured in the film, but he is one of the last pod racers that was featured in the film that has been never made into figure yet. And I think he's an awesome, iconic looking alien, and I think we definitely could use him in the modern line. Now next we have Queen Amidala. Now, this one is the most iconic character when you think of Star Wars, and when you think of Episode 1. You know, with her in her red dress, when she was in the beginning talking to Newt Gunray, like, that is classic, iconic Star Wars. And to have that on the Vintage would just be incredible. And next we have Newt Gunray. Now, he is another iconic character that we have not gotten since 1999. Hasbro has definitely been lacking in their Episode 1 figures, and these are just absolute musts for me. Now, the next two are kind of obscure characters, but I think Matt Rags, so this guy was seen talking to Quinlan Voss when Jar Jar threw the little food in Sebulba's cup. And to me, he is iconic. When you play the Episode 1 video game, he's a character in there from PS1. He is seen all throughout the pod race. He's just one of those characters that you see everywhere, and he would just be a great world-building type figure. And that leads me into the next one, which is Edsel Bargain. So he is a kind of iconic alien for the Senate. And I think he's got a cool look, and I think that there's a good photography shot that could be used on a card back that would look amazing. So that moves us into Episode 2. So these, I only found 3 characters that I think we really need. One is the Genosian. He hasn't been really made since 2002. We did get one in those Jedi Battle Packs in 2009, but he was kind of just a repaint of the 2006 Sunfac, and the vest is different, and I think we just need an original Genosian with his staff. Maybe get put him on a beast with one of those little things he was riding in the arena. I think that'd be really cool. Next we have Plo Koon. Now, he is also another iconic Jedi, and he's been released recently, but not in the Vintage Collection. I think the Vintage Collection needs him in there. And then lastly, we have Count Dooku. So this baffles me why they have never released him in the Vintage Collection yet. He's pretty much the main antagonist in that film, and He's been throughout so much media, and I just think he's just one of the biggest characters in all of Star Wars, and he needs to be made immediately. Next, well, I skipped over episode 3. There weren't really many characters that weren't touched upon in the previous episode 3 wave of the Vintage Collection. Um, so I'm just going to go straight to episode 4, which we have, at first, we have Boshek. Now, he is another iconic character from the film. He was seen talking to Obi-Wan at the bar. We haven't seen him since 2001. We could definitely use a modern update for him. Next, we have Jack Porkins. So I know he has had a modern update, but he was in some sort of 3-pack, which was hard to get. And I think him on his own card back would be a pretty good buy for a lot of fans. And next we have Elor's Madak, which is one of those Duros. So he was made back in, was it 2001, I think? And he was a Fan's Choice winner. So the fans desperately need an update for this character. His head was very small on the other one. I think he's got a much bigger head. Just definitely needs a modern update. And same thing with the next one, Colonel Wolf Yularen. So he was another hard figure to get. He was in, like, I think a 6-pack of Imperial officers. And we need him with more articulation. He played a huge role in the Clone Wars, and I think the lore around him has just built up so much, and he's just become that much bigger of a character, and the demand for him should be up there. And that leads me to the next one. I can't pronounce his name. It's the fly guy. It's Tizvid or something. He's an awesome background character for the Cantina, another world building background figure, and we definitely need more Cantina aliens. And speaking of which, the next one is the Tonika sisters. So I think one of them, both of them, I don't know how they're going to do it, but we need some sort of Tonika sister. Fans have been desperately asking for this since their early 90s at least. And I think we should see it soon. And so the next 3 are going to be also figures that I know that Hasbro will eventually make. And that's going to be a Greedo figure for the modern vintage collection. The last one we got was him with this weird cloth vest that just does not fit in. I mean, I think they could still use the same figure sculpt, but definitely a new vest. And the next one is Moma Nadan. He's the hammerhead in the Cantina. And he was made in 2006 in the Saga collection, but I think they could probably, this figure holds up to today. I think they could definitely reuse him. If not, maybe just add a little bit more articulation in the legs or something. And the last one for episode 4 is Farm Boy Luke. So the last one we got was just a really goofy looking, out of proportion looking character. I think we just need a really good Luke. Maybe have him come with like one of the Imperial belts, Stormtrooper belts that he was wearing on the Death Star. He's just such an iconic figure, and we just don't have a really good one of him. And I think we definitely need him. That'll sell like hotcakes for sure. So next we're moving on to episode 5. So all the figures that I found that we needed in the vintage collection for this are eventually going to be made, as they're part of the original 96. So the ones we're missing are IG-88. Obviously there is probably a good sculpt of him already out there, but I think they could easily use the IG-11 and kind of just do a repaint and put his different satchel on. Next we have Bosk. Now he was released in a think 2005 or 2006 vintage collection, but it wasn't part of the modern vintage collection line. So they could easily just repack him as well. I think you can't really get much better than what he was sculpted for that previous figure. Next we have Zuckuss. Same thing, just another repack. He was pretty good in the 2009 release of him. I think they could just easily repack him. Next is the FX7 medical droid. So this is the kind of tubular one with all the little arms on him. And in 2001 they did release him, and I think that figure definitely still holds up to this day. It's a pretty solid looking droid, and they could easily repack him as well. Next is the 2-1B medical droid. So this guy we haven't gotten since the late 90s, and he definitely needs an update. We did get kind of one like him in 2005 for the release of Revenge of the Sith, but it was different. His legs were weird, and he looked kind of small. I think we could definitely use a modern update. Next is Bespin Guard. Recently he was released. Easy repack. Just to complete the 96. Next is the AT-AT Pilot. So I'm not sure if there was a modern update of him. I think there is another easy repack they could do. Next is the Ugnaught. I'm not sure if they're going to do both. One. But if they do one of them, I think they should do the one with the apron. To me, he's just more iconic Ugnaught. And I think he was holding a little briefcase. I think we definitely could use him in the line. And then lastly, for episode 5, we have Lobot. Now, he has also not been released since 2004, which has been quite a while, and he could definitely use an update, and very, very iconic. He's always seen with Lando. And when you put those two figures together, you can hang them up on the wall together. I mean, it's a no-brainer to make him. Next up is episode 6, Return of the Jedi. So for these, there's going to be 3 new figures, 2 of which have never been made before. Velkin Taziri, he is one of the skiff guards on the skiff which Luke, Han, and Chewie were on, and we definitely need him to complete the prisoner skiff. And next we have Tame Drengarin. So he's the guy on the sail barge who shot Luke's hand, and just him on the card back would be incredible. I think we definitely need him. A lot of fans have been asking for so many years, but Hasbro's been afraid to make these human skiff guards for some reason, even though I know those are going to sell like crazy. I'll probably buy 3 of each. Next we have Admiral Piet. So he has also not been released for quite a long time. I know the Black Series 6-inch just made one of him, but definitely we need one in Return of the Jedi in the 3.75. And so the next chunk of characters are going to be the original 96, which we need, and that's going to be Tessic. He has not been made since 2001, and definitely need him. A new resculpt of him. And same goes for the next one, which is Bib Fortuna. He has not been made since 2006, and that figure was kind of goofy. He was just a plastic statue almost. I mean, he really didn't do anything. Definitely get him with some soft goods and a newer sculpt where he's not like making this weird, like, shocked face. Maybe give him like a more menacing look. Next is Amanaman. So he's that weird, tall, yellow and green guy. So honestly, I think the one they made back in 2001 holds up to this day. But if they were to remake them, that would be awesome as well. But I think a repack wouldn't be too bad. And next we have Malakali. He's the Ranker Keeper. And he was released back in '09, and I think that figure still holds, and we can just repack him. Next is Sim Alu. This is one of the Imperial dignitaries. Now, he is a character that we have been dying for since the '80s, and he definitely needs an update. And you can even toss in Sate Pestage when you release him, too. I mean, both of them kind of go together. But I hope they actually don't do soft goods for this one because of the fact that the other two dignitaries that we already have are kind of just like the hard cloth looking characters. Next is going to be General Crix Medine. So he was released back in '04, I believe. But yeah, he could definitely use an update. Next we have Chief Chirpa. So this character was made back in '06, but yeah, this figure kind of holds up to this day. I think they could definitely keep him. Um, and then next we have 8D8. Desperately need a new one of him. I remember, I don't know if a lot of you collectors out there have figures of him that the limbs break um, or bend over time. And I think there was an EV, or no, it was a BGJ38 figure who was in Jabba's Palace. They could use a sculpt similar to him. It was basically the same guy with just different painting and a different head. Um, Next is EV99. Now this is the one that was in the torture room for the droids, and he definitely needs an update. Like I said with the 8D8, this one I had to buy 3 of them over the course of my collecting years because every time he would just bend in the legs, and it's just very irritating. And lastly, for episode 6, we have Obi-Wan Ghost. Now, I could see Hasbro doing something where they make both Anakin, played by Hayden Christensen, and the other one. I forget his name. The one who played in the '80s, though. I think they definitely put both of them in there. It'd be very cool. And next we have episode 7. Now this was the best one of the modern sequels. But I don't know. There wasn't really many characters that I think we needed. There were only a couple. Number one being Finn. I know he was released, but he was kind of the cheap ones that were made. But we could definitely use him with that brown jacket. Very iconic for that film. And next, we have Maz Kanata. I think that her in the vintage collection would definitely round out the Force Awakens. And honestly, there's really not many other characters that I want from this film. Just those two. Um, and there were no figures from The Last Jedi or I don't even know, The Rise of Skywalker. I don't know. I hate those two films, to be honest with you. So no characters for either one of those. Moving on, we have Rogue One. We could definitely use a Baze Malbus figure. I know they just gave us Chirrut Imwe. Um, and I think they would be awesome together. You can display them together. And this one baffles me why they have not made yet. It's Director Krennic. He's been made in the 6-inch, and he's been made in the cheaply made figure before. But we definitely need a good sculpt of him. And honestly, you could probably just reuse a Imperial officer sculpt, which wouldn't be too hard to make. Next, we have The Mandalorian. So, starting this off, we have Bo-Katan. Obviously, fans have been dying for this figure as soon as she made her appearance on screen. And this would sell like crazy. And I'm surprised we actually haven't gotten it in the first wave of Mandalorian figures. But next we have the Dark Trooper. Now this would be an awesome figure to have. I know we've gotten Dark Troopers in the past, but this is just the new standard of Dark Trooper. The big bulky ones from the 90s. I don't know, you just can't display them like you can with this Dark Trooper. It seems dated and weird. Next we have the Frog Lady. Iconic to the Mandalorian. Next is Boba Fett in his cleaned up armor. I think Hasbro is actually waiting for the book of Boba Fett to come out to release him. Same with Fennec Shand, which we need her as well. Next we have the Clone Wars. So these are going to be a mixture of both the animated series and the 2003 Clone Wars series, the 5-minute episodes. First, we have Cad Bane. He has never been realistically made in the 3.75. I know we've gotten cartoon versions of him, and just recently we got the 6-inch version of him, but we definitely need him in this version. And next we have Savage Opress. He is iconic to the Clone Wars cartoon, and he would be awesome to have in the Vintage Collection. Same with Asajj Ventress. So she's kind of got two looks going for her. She's got the 2003 Clone Wars version or the animated series Clone Wars. Either one would work for me. I think she's just an awesome character and could definitely use her. Next we have Pong Krell. He's that Jedi who is the same species as Dexter Jetster. He is very cool Jedi. Definitely need him. Next is Tar Seer. So he is the same species as Ki-Adi-Mundi. And I know fans have been dying to have him since they saw him in the cartoon in 2003. And yeah, we definitely need him. Next we have Dirge. He's the bounty hunter. I know he's been featured in so much stuff back in 2003, and we got a realistic version of him, but he was kind of just only his legs and arms moved up or down, like no joints or anything. I think that would be an awesome figure to make. And last we have the Nelvarian. Now he's like that blue rat guy. Just any sort of Nelvarian warrior would do. I think he's just a highly requested character when that series came out, but the need for him has kind of died out, but I think we should still get him. Next we have other media. So this is just other things that were canon, such as books, games. So starting off, we got Bad Batch. So all 5 of these characters definitely need their own individual card backs. And I know the 6 inches just got them, so I think they're definitely heading towards being made soon. Next we have Cal Kestis. He is the protagonist of the game that was just recently released. And he's obviously the main character, and we definitely need him. Same with the second sister. She's the main antagonist of the game. And I think those two together would be totally awesome. We definitely need them. They're both released in the 6-inch, so I think we can see them coming soon. Next we have Night Sister Marin. Now she is an awesome character in my opinion, and I think would be a great addition to the Vintage Collection. And rounding this out, we got Grand Admiral Thrawn. So I'm not sure if they're going to wait till the Ahsoka show to make him in realistic version, but Yeah, definitely he's going to come sooner or later, but we definitely need him. And rounding out my list, we have legends. So these are all characters from books, comics, games throughout the entirety of Star Wars that is now considered legends, but I can still consider them canon. To me, they were my childhood growing up, and I think they've definitely missed the mark on these by calling them legends now. But first, we have Mara Jade, definitely iconic. Definitely would be scooped up like hotcakes. We definitely need that one for sure. Next, we have Darth Plagueis. I know he was released in the Black Series, so they could easily just throw him on a vintage collection card back, give him that, uh, even the book, the cover art of him on the book, maybe throw that on as the back or something like that. Next, we have Darth Revan. Uh, for obvious reasons, um, just everyone wants this character. And next, we got the One from Knights of the Old Republic. So this species, I forget their name of the species, but he's never been made in figure, so I think we could definitely use him. Next is Carnor Jax. So now with the Imperial Guard, the highly articulated one, I think it'd be easy to just kind of reuse that sort of sculpt, but just change the head, change the colors, and boom, you got Carnor Jax. He's the main villain of the Crimson Empire comics. Next is K. Krunk. K. Kruk. He's the Whipped Jedi. I know he was made in 2007 in the Expanded Universe wave, but he was extremely hard to get, and I think we could obviously use a update. He was just kind of, I don't know how to explain it, like plasticky. He didn't feel real. Whereas like you look at Jay Quill from 2004, he looked real. He looked like a real guy that was wearing fur on him. This one just looked like he like melted wax or something. It was just weird looking. Um, Next we need Darth Nihilus. So he was released in a 3-pack, but definitely he needs to be released on his own card back. He's iconic to the video game of Knights of the Old Republic, and they could easily just repack him in there. Next we got Darth Bane. So he was also in that 3-pack, along with Darth Maul. He's got his own book series, and he is the founder of the Rule of Two. I think it's just a no-brainer. We need him. We can get a whole line of Sith. It'd be incredible. Next, we got Sora Bulk as the Dark Jedi, as featured in Star Wars Republic, the comics. We got a Sora Bulk back in '06, but it's been quite a while. I think they could probably use the same head, but the body was kind of goofy. I think it definitely just a new sort of Jedi outfit would be pretty cool. Next on the list, we have Das Jenner. So he's also a figure or a character who's had his own comic series that lasted over like 30 issues, and we've never seen a figure of him, which is kind of baffling to me. We've got Dr. Aphra, who's, I don't even know if she's that popular of a character. I don't really read the new comics now. I'm just a fan of the Dark Horse ones. But yeah, if you're heading your own comic series, I think you definitely need your own figure. Same with Jackson. Jackson is I don't think he had his own comic series, But he's just a comic character, and he's that Green Rabbit. We got him in 6-inch now, but we need him in 3.75. Just a very cool character, very goofy. He's kind of on the level of Jar Jar. He's the Jar Jar of the comics, basically. But he's a cool character. And lastly, rounding out the list, I think they can make a gaming greats figure of the Bando Gora captain. Now, he's the one from Star Wars Bounty Hunter. It's Jango Fett's own story. So when he was fighting the main villain, these were the bad guys that were all around him. They could easily just have the mask switch out with the hood, and you got two different figures right there. So they're a pretty cool character. I think they definitely need them. But yeah, anyways, that rounds out my list. I think those are the 75 top characters that Hasbro should be looking into making. So thanks if you stuck to the end of this, and subscribe. See ya.